Side 2020, we're only hours away from the Republican runoff election for Greenville County Sheriff's Office. Tonight was the two candidates' last chance to go head-to-head in one final debate. Now, they were asked a series of questions from teen gang violence to gun rights. Now, the two also are trying to encourage voters in Greenville County to actually get out and vote after a very sad turnout during the last Republican primary. Now, here's what we know. Only about 25,000 out of the 300,000 registered voters actually voted. Fox Carolina's Kayla Conboy live tonight outside the GOP headquarters. And Kayla, I know that really does play a huge factor in these elections is voter turnout.
That's exactly right, and that's why they really wanted to make that point known in tonight's debate. The debate did end just a couple of hours ago, and neither candidate was timed for any of their answers, but they were both trying to make their points heard, saying it could mean all the difference in the polls tomorrow.
Hobart Lewis and A.T. Smith sitting on opposite sides of the table. One of the first questions asked, what would they do to combat violence among teens and youth?
If we cut off the supply and get to our young people early to keep them from getting involved in gangs and start spending time with them in a very positive way and develop relationships between law enforcement and this community, I think it'll go a long way with our young people.
A lot of times, there's fear of the police. We see all of the negatives that occur in the news with regard to police officers and their contact with the general public, quite frankly. So I think it would be important to start young and try to get as many contacts there as we can, trust the police.
Both candidates were also asked about race relations and how they would improve those relations if elected.
I think from the standpoint of relationships, the Sheriff's Office needs to improve in terms of diversity and make sure not that we just look like the community we represent, but that we're involved in that community and making sure that diversity is a big part of it.
I don't think we do enough to reach out to those in our community, in the upstate, to recruit and retain minorities. And we certainly have to do a better job of making the job appealing and certainly look like something they would want to do. And again, it all comes down to relationships with people.
Lewis and Smith also spoke about how law enforcement is changing, answering a question about how cell phones, viral videos, and even body cameras, and how they impact the way they do their jobs.
I think there's plenty of cases where it helps. I think there's plenty of cases where you have it and it may not be as useful as you might think when you initially get it. You just have to take it as it comes and use it the best you can.
It is an accountability factor that I think the public wants. We'll never get away from it. It's a needed piece of equipment and it's something that we just had to live with and learn to adapt to.
Polls open tomorrow morning. You can vote from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m. Of course, we'll bring you all of those results on air and in our Fox Carolina News app as well. And both of those candidates also saying it's not over until the last vote is counted. Reporting live in Greenville County, Kayla Conboy, Fox Carolina at the 10 o'clock news.
Kayla, thanks. Now, whoever wins the runoff will go on to face Democrat Paul Guy. Now, he held a town hall tonight at the Kroc Center in Greenville. He talked with voters about using what he calls a, quote, intelligent-led policing model, saying he wants to focus on accountability, transparency, impartiality, and listening. We caught up with him for more on his platform.
No one is talking about intelligent-led, real-time, community-oriented policing. You haven't heard those concepts, right? Those are concepts that we are banking on. And I think the citizens of Greenville, regardless whether Republican or Democrat, once they hear this comprehensive plan for the Sheriff's Office, they're going to support.
Now again, Paul Guy will face off with the winner of tomorrow's primary runoff for the Republican side. The special election is scheduled for March. And of course, we will have you covered tomorrow as people start heading to the polls. We'll be at the election headquarters looking at voter